All right. So if you're a software engineer, you've probably spent countless hours grinding away at technical problems, right? But what happens when the interviewer throws you a curveball, not a technical one, but one of those dreaded behavioral questions? That's what we're tackling today. We're going to break down a super powerful framework to help you absolutely nail those answers. Let's get into it.
So you get a question like this, and boom, your mind just goes completely blank. It happens to the best of us, right? These questions are tricky because they're not just about code. They're designed to see how you handle pressure, how you work with a team, the whole package. But here's the good news. There's actually a simple, almost foolproof way to structure your answer so you sound confident and prepared every single time.
And that, my friends, is where the STAR method comes into play. Now, don't let the acronym fool you. This isn't just some corporate jargon. It's a real framework for telling a killer story about what you've actually done. Seriously, think of it as your secret weapon for any behavioral interview.
At its core, it's really just a storytelling technique. It takes one of your real-life experiences and packages it into a super clear, really impactful story. So you can say goodbye to rambling or getting lost in the weeds. This gives you a perfect structure every single time. Okay, let's actually break down what STAR stands for. First up, S is for situation. This is where you set the scene, give the necessary context. Then you've got T for task. This is all about what your specific responsibility was in that situation. Next, and this is maybe the most important part, is A for action. What did you do? What specific steps did you take? And finally, you wrap it all up with R for result. What happened? What was the outcome? What did you accomplish? Okay, so why is this thing so popular? Like, why do interviewers seem to love it so much? And maybe more importantly, why is it such a game changer for you? Let's talk about why it actually works. The real magic of STAR is that it's a win-win. For you, it provides a solid structure so you don't panic and forget the important parts. And for the interviewer, well, it makes your story easy to follow, it ensures you're giving them something relevant, and honestly, it just makes you more memorable. It's the difference between saying, I have skills, and proving you know how to use them to get real results. All right, enough theory. Theory is cool and all, but let's see this thing in action. We're going to walk through 3 different, super common software engineering interview questions and build the perfect STAR answer for each one. Ready? Okay, example number 1. This is a classic. It's designed to see if you take initiative, if you have good technical judgment. This question isn't just about can you code, it's about do you take ownership of the code and actively make it better. So let's see how you'd use STAR to tell this story. So for your situation, you paint the picture. You show them you see the forest, not just the trees. You start by saying, look, I wasn't just fixing a simple bug. I actually found a deeper systemic problem, a really flawed function that was causing technical debt all over the place. And that leads right into your task. Suddenly, your goal is way bigger than just closing a Jira ticket. You're not just a code monkey. Your mission, your real task, was to kill the problem at its source. And let me tell you, showing that kind of ownership, that is a massive green flag for any interviewer. Now for the action part. This is where you have to get super specific about what you did. You don't just say, I refactored it. No way. You say, I proposed a plan to refactor the function. I put that change in its own separate PR to make it easy to review, which, by the way, shows amazing engineering discipline. And then I applied the original fix. See how methodical that sounds? And the result? Bam! It's a double whammy. On the one hand, you got a huge technical win. The bug is gone for good, the code base is healthier. But you also got a professional win because you kicked off a really important conversation with your tech lead about how to handle this stuff in the future. Now that is a complete, powerful story. Okay, let's move on to example number 2. This one is all about your people skills, your ability to mediate, lead, collaborate. Because let's be real, technical disagreements happen all the time. The conflict itself isn't the problem, it's how you navigate it that counts. So the situation here is a total classic. You've got 2 senior engineers, both brilliant, but they're pulling in opposite directions on how to build a super important new feature. The perfect setup for a STAR story. Your task, in this case, is to be the mediator. You have 2 jobs, really. 1, help the team find the best technical solution. And 2, make sure everyone can still work together afterward without resentment. This shows you get that software is built by people, not just machines. And check out this action. It's so smart, it's structured, it's fair. You didn't just walk in and pick a winner.
Nope. You created a process. You got them both to present their ideas, but backed up with data. You led a calm discussion about the pros and cons, and then, this is the key part, you proposed a hybrid solution that took the best of both worlds. That is textbook leadership right there. And the result? A total win-win. Not only did you resolve the technical disagreement, but team morale actually went up. And of course, the module got finished on time. You literally took what could have been a disaster and turned it into a team-building moment. Awesome. All right, on to our last example. This one is going to get a little more into the weeds of system design and some deep, gnarly technical problem solving. This is the kind of question where you can really flex those analytical muscles. For this situation, we're talking about a real high-stakes business problem. The application is getting slow during peak hours. And that's not just a tech problem, that's a user experience problem, which means it's a money problem for the company. This is so great because it immediately ties your technical work to business value. So, your task is pretty clear, but it's not easy. You got to go deep, find out what's really causing the slowdown, and, fix it. This frames you as the detective, the real problem solver. Your action here needs to be specific and technical. You talk about the tools you used, profiling tools, log analysis, and you pinpoint the exact culprit, a poorly optimized database query. Then you describe how you rewrote it and fixed the indexing. This shows you have a systematic, expert approach to debugging. And for the result, you got to use numbers. A 50% improvement in load time, that is an incredible, unforgettable metric. Pro tip, whenever you can, put a number on your results. It just makes your story so much more powerful. It's the difference between a good story and a, wow, we need to hire this person story. Okay, so we've seen how powerful the STAR method can be. But here's the absolute most important takeaway. You have to prepare these stories before you ever walk into that interview room. You cannot be trying to come up with these on the spot. You need to build what I call a story bank. Honestly, for pretty much any interview, you should have at least these 5 core stories prepped and ready to go, all in that STAR format. Think about it. An accomplishment, a time you went the extra mile, a conflict you helped solve, a tough challenge you overcame, and, yeah, even a mistake you learned from. If you have these in your back pocket, you'll be ready for almost anything they throw at you. So really, start working on these today. So as we wrap this up, let me leave you with a little bit of homework. What's your most powerful STAR story? Really think about it. Dig through your past projects, your team dynamics, those tough challenges you faced. Find that story that really captures who you are as an engineer. Get it down in the STAR format, practice telling it out loud, and I promise you'll be ready to crush your next interview. Good luck out there.